virtually Stanley Nyarugita. Right now on X, the #1 hashtag is Occupy CBD Tuesday. And that just goes to show what is going to be happening today. And we'll be giving you live coverages on that, different parts of the country. And I want to take you all the way to Nakuru, specifically in Naivasha. Our boots on ground there is Willie Dennis Njiru. Willie Dennis, a very good morning to you. How are things looking like in Naivasha? Are we expecting some demonstrations today? I'm out on me relax, Leo.
Good morning, Stanley. Happy to see you on a red tie, but in Naivasha you can hardly be on tie when you are on the field. But following the discussion, I've been following what has been going on closely in the studios, and it's quite intense discussion across the country. And right here in Naivasha, we have security intensified. If my camera person could just pan around, we have a myriad of security officers, and on my left side equally, we have yet another van with security personnel patrolling to ensure that all is well and security is maintained around here. Now I stand right outside Naivas supermarket. This is the mother of all Naivas in this country. Actually, the ultimate name is Naivasha supermarket, but it has not been operational for the last 1 week since it was vandalized last week on Tuesday, and it has not been in operation since last week. And the management has just alluded to the fact that they have run into millions of losses aside being vandalized, that they have not been in operation. And across the other side, we also have businesses that are very skeptical about their continuity of their business across the day, seemingly because they are expected to have peaceful demonstrations around here, and no one knows the adverse effects of what it may bring forth by close of this day. Just to have a precedent of what happened last week is that the president was here a day like today last week, and a huge crowd that had moved to South Lake Road hoping to be addressed by the president regarding the issues they had initially raised. After they were never addressed by the president, who was addressing other national issues on security in the capital city, then the crowd moved to the Naivasha CBD, and there was a bit of lawlessness. And by close of day, all this place you see right now as it is was actually vandalized, and it has just been repaired. Up to yesterday around 7 p.m., we had technical guys handling repairs around here, and the supermarket says that they are going to be resuming soon. And it is quite unfortunate to see that the supermarket has really suffered casualty. Even in the capital city, it was a major target by many of those people who are targeting the supermarkets. Just to paint you a general look of the town, it is quite normalcy. There's quite a lot of normalcy, as you can see. And if my camera person could just even pan further, the businesses are opened. Some of those we were supposed to speak to have actually expressed their dissatisfaction that there are no clients coming to their shops to buy, because the little that they are having is actually just available for their keeps, not knowing what happens tomorrow. Actually, we have hardwares here that are saying they are hardly having any clients coming because no construction that is taking place around here. Those people who are reaping big from it is only those people who are doing the food market and other basic commodities that revolve around food. We'll be keeping tabs, Stanley, on what is developing around here in Naivasha and bringing to our viewers on what developed by sequence. But as right now, as the situation stands, it is just calm and everything is very normal. But we also had a big truck of the GSU who just moved around here. And not so far from here, we have two barracks in Gilgil. and actually I strongly believe some of those trucks we saw may have been deployed from there. But all said and done, it is all well from now. Maybe, Stanley, if you have a question, I'm ready to take it. If none, I hand it over back to you.
A quick one, because I mean you've definitely painted the picture for us, Willie,
Yes.
and just showing us police presence and all that. But then, have you heard of any chatter of what the main agenda of the young protesters if they're going to come on board? What is the main agenda if they're going to be on board today?
All right. We well heard of what the president was saying during his live joint interview on television. And actually, the same notes with the president are the same notes on social media platforms around here, with the demands to the presidency that they have to be met. Actually, it is not diverse. There's no clusters of demand, but the same list of demands that maybe you could be having on your social platform, the same apply here. It is just a solidarity across the country on actually, I don't know who crafts this, I don't know where it emanates from. We don't know the sources, but actually those things that have been enlisted there, as you heard the president talk about them, it is actually them that the same demands are being raised around here on the social platforms, which I've actually come across some of them, and I believe that you have done. And maybe, Stanley, you could just have an insight when I take it back to you to just have a look at it and let our viewers know about it.
Right. Thank
Stanley.
you. Right. Thank you very much, Willie Dennis Njeru. He's our eyes and ears in Naivasha, Nakuru County. You watching us this morning can always also be part of this conversation. Also be our eyes and ears wherever you are in this country and even out, and tell us on our WhatsApp number 0793-267-279. All you need to tell us is, how is the situation around you? Is it peace? Is there calm? Are there any demonstrations that have begun? Talk to us. 0793-267-279 is our WhatsApp number. And even for more of this conversation, just as Willie says, getting an insight of venye leo kutakuwa, Ken Babu is a Youth League chairman, Democratic Action Party of Kenya. DPK, karibu sana.
Asante.
Not a new face to this conversation and even studio, as well as Fred Muko. He's a youth advocate, political analyst, as well as Secretary General Emeritus, Multimedia University. Karibu sana. These two gentlemen represent quite the Gen Z and a huge population out there.
Sure.
And as he says, I mean, there's definitely a lot to take a look at, and largely taking a look at what we expect today. Allow me to start with, let's say, even the interview on what the president was saying, your own interpretation of what he was saying. Did you feel like he spoke to you directly as a young person? I'll start with you,
Thank you, Stanley. First, before I respond to what the president said, because he said many things, and we as a group, as a young people, we up to now, we are not yet satisfied. And I would like to pose a question. Why does a poison has an expiry date, yet it is a poison? Huh? We are told that if a drink expires, it becomes poisonous. If food expires, it becomes poisonous. But then, why do we have expiry date on poison? That tells you that the system is already rigged. The system is already rigged, and that's why when the president was speaking, and then after he spoke, then this issue of I don't know, multi-sectoral forum, something came up. I'm asking from the Gen Z perspective. Multi-sectoral forum was proposed by one side of the team. It is the Gen Z or the young people versus the government. But the government go and sits down and proposes a multi-sectoral forum. They did not consult us with that. So it's a discussion that is one-sided.
Right.
We cannot walk into that table which is one-sided. Number one, who decided that that forum should have 100 representatives? Who decided that that forum should be held at State House or somewhere else? And how did they sit and decide that we should have 100 guys, committee member, and Where is this forum going to be held? Who is going to chair this forum? What are the issues? And who was consulted?
Right.
So the system is already rigged.
Hold on to that bit, because we'll also be engaging more and widely on the president as well as matters dialogue. Mukua, briefly, your assessment of the president's interview before we cross over to Nakuru and listen into what Chichi Josephine has for us.
To my assessment of the interview, it was just what you have been used to. And also, there's a quote that say, if you see the whites are praising you, just know the people you lead are suffering. So you cannot criminalize us and then you call us for dialogue. So to my point of view, he did, most of the thing he did was PR, and there's nothing much he addressed that can also benefit us. So the move is still on. We are still going on to push for what we want.
Right.
So, and then there's no way he's just maneuvering around us. You cannot call the clergy. What was the need of calling the clergy to the State House?
Right.
Does it even affect us?
We'll be back
and most of the youths,
okay,
they have already been educated.
Okay.
They know the church is also rigged and compromised.
Okay.
So there's no way you can send the clergy to come and talk to us.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll be back to continue this whole assessment and what it means for this so-called revolution. But first, I want to take you all the way to Nakuru, where Chichi Josephine is. Chichi, a very good morning to you. The last time this whole series of demonstrations, Nakuru has been quite vocal. The young people in Nakuru have been quite vocal. Is that what you're going to be seeing today, Chichi?
Well, Stan, a very good morning to you. And of course, we are ready for what is expected to transpire today, where the Gen Z did right yesterday, walking, be going to demonstrate. And this time round, it's not about the finance bill, but also understand that although President William Ruto has been in power for just 20 months, the Gen Zs have put his leadership into a test and has been found wanting. I said, despite him giving in, or rather giving in into the finance bill, or rather on the finance bill, they still have no trust in his leadership, and that is why they will be prepared to come back to the streets to demonstrate. This time round, not being about the finance bill, but this time round, streets of course, holding countrywide sit-downs all across the country, and that will be observed for today. This is in solidarity and, of course, in honor of the fallen comrades who lost their lives during the anti-finance bill protest. But, of course, just to give you a clear, it is here in Nakuru. I am at the CBD, that is the Nakuru CBD, where businesses are ongoing as usual, but we have seen heavy presence of police all around in every part, or rather every corner of the city, ready to, of course, ensure there is security in case the Gen Zs decide to come back to the street. But of course, we also have been told, or rather I have heard information from the county commander that they are manning, especially the area where that is the State House Lounge in Nakuru, where it was targeted most during the last protest. And of course, we have other places that have been manned so well, that is the County Assembly of Nakuru, and of course some different parts of the city where we have seen, of course, heavy presence of police cars, of course, going around the places to ensure that the place have been well secure. But of course, understand that even after the Gen Z said it is not all about the Finance Bill 2024, they will also be holding the president accountable to what really happened during the protest. That is the killings of their comrades who they say came to the streets peacefully, but again, some of them did not return home, but rather were killed. And of course, in the last protest here in Nakuru, we witnessed some people, or rather some young people, being shot, and others, of course, sustaining injuries during the protest. But it is said, or rather allegations have it, that some rowdy youth came in and, of course, tried to interfere the whole peaceful protest that was being witnessed here in this particular city, or rather in this particular town of Nakuru. So in short, Stan, just to tell you is that for now Nakuru is calm, but what I've told you is that we have seen police presence all over, trying to go down, or rather trying to go around the city, and of course see the situation as it is. But the Gen Zs had promised that today they will come to the streets, of course, to demonstrate, or rather to protest. But today they were also coming, or rather to have some sit-downs, like I told you, in honor of the fallen comrades. They were also, they had also said that they will have a 5 minutes silence, all in honor of the fallen comrades who lost their lives during the anti-finance bill protest. So we are here waiting to see what transpires. I'm here, of course, I'll be keeping an eye on this, and definitely I will come live on air to tell you what will be happening right in this particular city. But just know we had a warning that the Gen Zs would be coming back to the streets, of course, this time round to demonstrate, and their protest, like I have told you, is not about the finance bill, but some of them are out here saying that the Ruto's administration has not shown any signs of goodwill, and so they are out here to see, or rather to have their voices out and tell the president that they are not happy with with his leadership. But of course, we shall be able to see what really transpires. Probably I will come live on air again to tell you what I'll have gathered by the moment, or rather what would be happening by the time, even as we await for the Gen Zs. And not only the Gen Zs, we have the millennials and everyone who is not content with the President William Ruto's leadership. So allow me keep an eye on this stand, even as you continue with the discussion, or rather you get to other counties to hear what is going on in regards to today's expected protest. Over to you, Stan. My name is Chichi Josephine.
Right, thank you very much, Chichi Josephine, our boots on ground in Nakuru County. We'll definitely be getting back to her. Right now, I want to take you all the way to Kisii County, where Alfayo Kombo is. Alfayo, good morning. Kisii is also one of the places that young people are quite vocal when it comes to these demonstrations. Is it going to be the same for today?
Good morning, Stanley Nyaringita. I'm getting you very well from this side of Kisii County. Today morning, I've been able to visit various areas whereby we will see the young youths going across and demonstrating. Those are the areas of Daraja Moja, Daraja Mbili, Capital Roundabout, the areas of Mwembe. And according to my view, when I was able to pass through those areas, I've seen that various business vendors have just opened their stalls halfway. Others have not really opened their stalls. And when I have passed across Kisii town, various supermarkets are beefed up with high security from both entries, 2 to 4 to 5 security officers are manning up these areas, and other business vendors who have a lot of things into their shops have also beefed up security. With me here, my camera person can be able to show me. You can see even some of the stores that are here that are being used by Mama Mboga. They are still empty. People are just have opened their shops halfway. The other side, if he's able to show us, you'll also see that shops, this area of Kisii town, are halfway opened. Others haven't opened their shops. But with me here, I have several residents of Kisii County who will be telling us what are their views, what is their feel about today's demonstrations, and do they feel that what the youths are trying to ask the government to do, is it good or bad? If I may allow you to come closer. Pengine hisia zako ni zipi hasa siku hii ya leo?
Siku ya leo maandamano ni lazima. Sisi kama majenti tumeamua Ruto lazima ashuke. Hata kama uchumi itaharibika kwa siku hizi 5 tumetangaza, maandamano hapa Kisii iko, mtu asiwadanganye iko, ni masaa bado hajafika. Maandamano tuko nayo. Ruto must go. Hiyo ndio kitu tunaweza sema. Wacha akubali tu ashuke na akubaliana zile ile maneno majenti wameamua, kama ni kutengeneza hiyo IBC for the next 14 days. Hiyo mambo ya kusema ati amereject hiyo bill, hiyo story ya tuko siku hizi we are learned. The moment mjinga akirefuka mwerefu wa mashakani. Sasa all gents wenye walikuwa wajinga sasa wamerefuka, Ruto ajue hivyo, tumechanuka na ande Ruto must go, kwa sababu it is now, kama si sahi ni sasa hivi Ruto must go. Hiyo ndio kitu tunasema.
Na asante sana. Pia tuweze kupata pia mkazi mmoja na tueleze what is your feel about this thing, and do you feel, walikuwa wamesema kwamba watakuwa wanatuma wanajeshi katika kaunti zote 47. Wewe hisia zako ni zipi?
Ndio, mimi nasema ya kwamba wacha watume hawa wanajeshi, lakini wasilete madhara kwa wananchi. Maandamano wananchi wamejiandaa vilivyo. and we really support that. We are after the youths who are going for maandamano, tunawapa support, wafanye kazi mzuri ili serikali iweze kusikia kilio chao. Wananchi wameumia sana. Ukiona watu wakiingia kwa barabarani wako na sababu kujitolea maisha yao. Kwa hivyo hatuwezi kutishwa ya kwamba maaskari watawekwa hapa na pale kuangaisha wananchi. Wananchi wako na njaa, hata kama ni mtu anaweza kufa, they are ready. So wacha wananchi watokesee, we are ready, the youths come, waendelee na maandamano ili serikali isikie kilio cha wananchi iweze kurekebisha mahali kuna kasoro. Asante sana.
Pengine ukiangalia kuna baadhi ya vitu ambavyo vijana hawa wanaitisha kama vile kuondolewa kwa ofisi ya mwakilishi wa wanawake, vile vile kuondolewa kwa baadhi ya ofisi ile ya naibu mkewe rais na naibu wake na yule makamu prime cabinet. Je, unahisi kwamba vitu hivi ambavyo vijana wanaitisha ni viko sawa kuondolewa au maoni yako ni yapi?
Viko sawa kabisa, sababu ukiangalia vizuri hizo maofisi hasina maana katika nchi ya Kenya. Ni vile tu wanatumia usuru ya wananchi ambayo wanaumia. Ni yeye hizo maofisi solewe, serikali endelee kawaida na kufanya kazi na zile maofisi zingine ambazo sina maana.
Pengine juzi tuliona kwamba Rais William Ruto alikuwa amefanya kikao na waandishi wa habari. Kutokana na kikao kile, je, ulihisi kwamba baadhi Ruto alikuwa amejibu maswali ipasavyo katika kikao kile?
Enyewe hata mimi nilitegea hicho kikao cha waandishi wa habari, rais wetu hakuweza kujibu wananchi vile ambavyo ilikuwa inatakikana. Rais mwenyewe alikuwa anaepa maswali hapa na pale. Hiyo ni kitu ambacho hata watu wengi wamelalamika. Hakuwa anaenda straight forward to the point vile ameulizwa. Na alikuwa anaonyesha hasira mingi akiojewa katika hiyo mahojiano. Na hiyo sio mzuri kwa nchi. Maana inafaa rais atulize mawazo, alafu ndio asikize enyewe vile nchi inafaa kukua.
Pengine ukiangalia kwamba maandamano haya vijana ambayo wanafanya, tuliona kwamba baadhi yao wanasema kwamba vijana ndio wanaharibu vitu. Je, wewe unahisi kwamba vijana hawa wanaharibu au kuna baadhi ya wakora ambao wanaingilia kati?
Vijana wanafanya maandamano mazuri sana. Wala ambao wanaharibu vitu ni watu wachache. Percentage is very low. Vijana wako hawana silaha, hawabebi silaha mkononi. Hatujaona watu wamebeba masilaha ya kupigana ama kuingilia biashara ya wenyewe. Wao wako kwa barabara wanafanya maandamano mzuri. Ingawaje ni wachache ambao wale wauni mmoja wawili wanachukua hiyo advantage kuharibu mali ya wananchi.
Sawa. Naam, asante sana. Pengine tuweze kupata mkazi mwingine atueleze, pengine ukaribia tu tueleze, je, hisia zako ni zipi kuhusiana na maandamano ambayo yanakisiwa kufanyika hii leo? Songa tu hapa karibu.
Kwa kusema kweli mimi ni Richard, mimi ni chef. Sasa kwa kusema kweli maisha imekuwa ngumu. Hata zile vitu zile bei tulikuwa tunanunua tukiuza ilikuwa vizuri afadhali wakati ule wa uhuru kuliko saa hii. So inatubidi tuandamane sisi kama vijana ndio rais wetu aweze kutusikia. Tumeongea tukachoka. Wale wabunge tumetuma kule wameenda biashara, anawapea mpaka pesa ili waweze kupitisha mswada yenye inatusumbua sisi kama wananchi wa kawaida. Sasa hii maandamano ya leo si ilikuwa ile ya mswada. Sasa hii maandamano ya leo ni ya kumtoa, hatumtaki, tumechoka na yeye. Tumechoka, tunataka kumuonyesha kabisa hatuko tayari na yeye. So kitu anafanya yeye ajiusuru, tutafute rais mwingine mwenye anasaidia nchi yetu ya Kenya.
Naam, asante sana Stanley Nyaringita. As you have just heard, those are the few sentiments of Kenyans from different areas of Kisii County. And remember, this is something that we'll be following up in order to keep our viewers up to speed and to be able to tell them those are just few sentiments that some of the passers-by that were passing within have to give their sentiments. But remember that our viewers should stick to TV47 so that we'll be able to bring them up to speed what and each and every event that will be happening here at Kisii County. I don't have much to say, but pass the mantle back to you in studio, Stanley Nyaringita. My name is Kombo Alfayo.
Very much, Kombo Alfayo, and just showing us how things are looking like in different parts of the country. We'll also be giving you live pictures of the same when we do have them. So far, in studio, I do have Ken Babu as well as Fred Mukua. So far, gentlemen, we've taken a look at 3 areas, Naivasha, well, Nakuru as well, and Kisii. And I mean, it definitely looks quite peaceful. And just to take a look at what the Gen Z had said, the young demonstrators, according to a flyer, they call it 7 days of justice. This is different to what was there last week. Last week was 7 days of rage. For this week is 7 days of justice. It had action points from Friday, 28th of June, all the way to Thursday, the 4th of July. Specifically for today, just to read out, aloud for someone who hasn't come across this flyer, they say hashtag Occupy everywhere, a public holiday, all Kenyans of all ages in solidarity shall occupy all major roads across all major roads in the country and sit down. So far, lakini naona bado ni peaceful. Allow me to start with you, Mukua. Before you get into all this, what to expect today, because you're getting into the assessment of the president's interview, and particularly now, I want to understand from a young person, and even in this revolution that is there, what impact did that interview have on this revolution?
The impact was minimal to negligible. And what we expected from him, he was first to acknowledge and also stand with us for those who lost the people, and also look for a way he can compensate the families who lost the comrades. You know, they have invested in those people who are fighting for. So he should look for a way of compensating them, grieving with them. Then from there, he can now talk about how he will include us in the dialogue, how we are going to move forward. And you cannot criminalize us, and they also expect us to dine with you. That is a sumu, as you said. Yeah.
Right. The reason I'm asking that is because when you're taking a look on Sunday evening, during this interview with the senior editors, on social media, a number of young people were really agitated by what the president was saying, and even accusing him of lying on different statements that you've attributed to as well, Babu.
That's why.
And before you respond to this, the reason I was asking what impact it really had is, in my view, it was one of those interviews that even had the fire burning and kept the fire burning for this revolution, because now people are like, ama tupatane kesho, you know, now, because that was Sunday evening, people saying, or we should actually even meet Monday rather than the expected Tuesday. But then right now, we're taking a look at some of the streets. I mean, things are empty. Does this mean that the fire is not as, haiban venye watu walikuwa wanataka?
First, Stanley, allow me to say that the president's interview confirmed to us as Kenyans, not only the young people, but all Kenyans, that indeed the 130 advisors in State House are not doing anything. And in fact, one of the immediate action he should take is to send them home, instead of wasting time and taking tea with taxpayers' money, making life so difficult for Mama Mboga and Baba Mboga as well. Stanley, it is clear that the president was dodging questions. Because as a president, how do you get a question from an interviewer, then you dodge it, and then if the interviewer insists that you give a response, then you tell them to respond as they think or they wish it should be. So that interview was a flop. He was not addressing issues of Kenyans. He was not responding to the questions that were being answered, and a video was played on the things that he said during campaigns on those times, and he was shocked, and he kept saying that, oh, you don't have to be biased. How are they being biased? And those are the things they said. See, that's the problem we have.
Do you think the aspects that the president said that might be true, Moko? Because there's a question Joe Ageyo from NTV asked, and I quote, and it's all happened under your watch, Mr. President. This is why we're saying you should keep us safe. The president answered this. We must be even, we must be even. The police have a difficult job. They have to make sure the peaceful demonstrators are protected, but they also must make sure that the criminals are not taking advantage. When I said the other day criminals, many people took offense that I was calling the demonstrators criminals, end of quote. And just using this quote and even other things that he said, are there aspects of what he said that might actually resonate and be true, Mukwa?
I don't think so. And the debate that was happening, the thing he said actually made it more worse and catalyzed the matter instead of cooling down. So the youths who have vandalized property is like when they come to see in town as they are demonstrating, at the end of the day, they must have something to put on the table. They cannot go back to their slums or where they dwell without anything. So mostly they were targeting anything that was against them. If they could realize a building that belonged to a certain politician, they could attack. If there's a politician who had ever attacked them online, they could. So it was the youth versus anything that was against them. So I cannot blame the youth for vandalizing property. And also the police were given orders. And even we were also engaging the police on the demonstration. They were part of us, but they are in line of duty. They understand the pain we are undergoing through together. But the problem was they have been given orders by the so-called people they are protecting instead of giving. So I don't think if it...
Stanley, just before, allow me delve into that a bit. Still the president. The president was asked, what are the measures, or what are the, how is he going to respond to the police officers, the killer police officers? He was not clear on that. He did not give a clear response on that. And these are people who have been digged, and their information are on public domain. People have done research, the young people have done research, and there is one person who is on public domain as it stands right now, but the guy is still walking free. So what are we saying? What is he trying to tell us? That these guys will just come out, shoot people, kill them, and then they go scot-free. And then he was asking that is a police officer only an officer when they are in uniform? Yes, a police officer is an officer even in civilian, but why would they cover their faces? Why would they wear masks? Why are they wearing hoods and covering they cannot be identified. You saw the incidents of Alfred Keter. Alfred Keter was literally abducted. That is not an arrest. That is not an arrest. Stanley, if you are to be arrested from here, our police officers need to identify that I'm police officer so-and-so from this police station and this is my card. Please, you are under arrest. That is what that is exactly what the law states. Not people just storming from somewhere. Okay. Their faces covered, and then they take you away. So the president did not address that issue well. And then on the issue of Kennedy Onyango, or Koth Onyango, the young man who was shot 8 times in Rongai, the president asking journalists if that child is alive, that is so insensitive. You get that? The mother of that baby has been on media crying and wailing for justice, and then the head of state comes on the television and asks a journalist, is that kid alive? Honestly, from your thinking point, can you be shot 8 times and you survive it?
The president also mentions that there's going to be investigations. And just to quote him, let me tell you 2 things. There will be an investigation on how this 19 Kenyans, as he said, there will be clarity and explanation for each and every one of them. And just to also tie this question to, because he said he's also ready to get into these X spaces that people are actually having conversations on. The kind of questions that he was asked that time are questions, drafted by the senior editors. They also reflected what Kenyans really are saying. But then if he was to come to this X space, for example, what will the young people really ask him?
We have a number of issues that are endless, and just to have a few overview of them, we want also, the first thing we want him to deal is to do away with the unconstitutional offices like CAS that will waste the taxpayers' money. And then the same thing is to reduce wastage on government expenditure like foreign travel. And also the third thing is to do a lifestyle audit of all the MP you see around wearing and living lavish life. And there's a number of things. And also, us as youth, you want to see where he is creating more opportunity locally. You don't want to go to work in Saudi, or we have already equipped, we are used to our environment, Kenya. You want to work for our country, Kenya. So you should create a good environment for us youths to do business. And also, you should also focus on hiding the corrupt officers like CS Linturi, who sold fake fertilizer to, even there's a farmer who I know who bought fertilizer worth 10 millions, which was fake. So, and the same CS is still hiding under him. He should start.
Though on Sunday he said that he's going to, there's going to be a scrapping of the CS posts in among the strategy measures that his government is keen to have. Are you now confident that if he says that I'm going to do away with this post that you're saying, as well as the CSs, the First Lady, and even other posts that you're saying, fine, I've removed them. Are the young people still confident that in this revolution?
Those are mere talks.
Stanley.
You want them implemented. You want to stand tomorrow in TV. Not just be giving empty promises like I will do. You should execute the same time he's saying it.
Stanley, allow me just chip that issue of the president saying to scrap and the president scrapping actual things.
Plus also, because I'd also ask him about the investigation, because he's saying investigations are going to be done. So a number of times we've had even the head of state saying we're going to have an inquiry on this, we're going to have investigations. But a number of times we don't really see the outcome and the reports of this.
Stanley, let me ask you, you're a journalist. Let me ask you a question. How much evidence do you need from the court to justify that the fertilizer that was applied by Mithiga Linturi was fake, so that you can send that guy home? How much evidence do you need? Do you need approval from the court? Do you need approval from God that to certify that this fertilizer is fake? That fertilizer was fake. If the president is a man of his word, Linturi ought to have been home right now, immediately. In fact, those investigations should have not been happening while the guy is in office. So that can tell you that what this guy is saying, some of them are just mere stories. Let me ask you, the problem with this government is one: people are not honest enough to say the truth, or people are not enough to say to do what they are saying. Let me take you back to Rongai. This young man was shot 8 times, and the mother was in televisions more than thrice, crying and saying that this young boy was shot 8 times. He could not survive. And then government pathologists turned into a pathological liar yesterday and told us that this guy was shot once, and I don't know what. I mean, what do you say that? How do you do that? That's so insensitive. Let me tell you, Stanley, the president said that he is ready for the X-Space or something. We are not telling the president that we want a dialogue. We are not asking for a dialogue. What we are telling the president is as simple as the following. 1, scrap off the unconstitutional offices. And if maybe he is not aware of the unconstitutional offices and his advisors are not even aware of the same, because they focus more on taking tea and mandazis at the State House, let me put it down and offer pro bono advice to the presidency so that he can get to know the unconstitutional offices that we are talking about. Number 1, scrap off the office of the spouse to the deputy president. Why are we having that office in the first place? Scrap off the office of the prime cabinet secretary. The office is unconstitutional, illegal, but still within the unconstitutional office, there are still illegal businesses going through. Recently, we had a fraud scandal in the same office. So the institution is, the office is unconstitutional, and then the people who are inside are still shameless to conduct illegal activities within the office. What kind of system is that? Second to that, the guy should scrap off the office of the spouse to the prime cabinet secretary. Your office is unconstitutional, and then you still have the guards and the powers to establish another unconstitutional office within the office at the spouse of the prime cabinet secretary. What is that? And all these things are being funded from the exchequer, the taxpayers' money. The guy should scrap off the office of the first lady. Yeah, these are offices that we are just having them here to divert funds that should be actually, projected developments. Why do we need that group of old men and women in State House masquerading and acting around as advisors, where in real sense they do not provide the real advice they should be providing? They focus on taking tea and mandazi. We have advice on women, we have advice on different affairs. Do we have an advice on youth affairs? That is why this government is failing on youth issues.
So you feel like this?
It is intentional, and it is an objective of this government to fail on youth issues.
So basically there's no touch on even for the young people.
No, there's no touch. There's no touch. The entire regime is not in touch with the reality of the young people on the ground. And that's why the youth are out to put a question. Right. Do 1, 2, 3. There is no need of wasting time of conducting this, what do we call it, as a multi-sectoral forum. Let me tell you, this group of 100 people that they're talking about, will be going around these hotels, taking tea from one point to another, using taxpayers' money. Okay. What we are saying is this. Okay. Just let me finish. What we are saying is this. We did our communications on placards and on T-shirts, and we will do the same today if we did not get them the other time. The guys should be careful, sit down, watch the TV, you will see the things we are saying. Okay. Do those things and avoid the issues of...
Point made. Mukua, even as you come on this, the hashtag has always been, and the president was asked, hashtag Ruto must go. Even before that, it was hashtag reject finance bill. So even as you come in on this conversation, number one, are there structures in this revolution that, because right now, even on Thursday, there were some who are pro, let's go to State House. There are some who are, let's not go to State House. And even after that, there have been, different kinds of ideas and ideologies really coming on the fact that young people saying we're leaderless, we're tribeless, we're partyless, and rudderless, This, what's the impact of being partyless, leaderless? What's the downside of that?
Yeah, most of the youths are educated, and they know what they are expected of. And we have gone so many interviews that we have never secured anything. And the most of the thing we say, we can work best without, with minimal supervision. So without any direction from anyone, any youths know what is right. And there's a wise saying that say a comrade is always wise. So as much as they are doing, we do online awareness. Everyone is online, they see what is happening, so it circulates. When they start executing on the ground, it happens simultaneously without anyone controlling it in the ground. So they are aware, they know what is expected. They have gone several demonstrations fighting in the schools, so they know what is expected of them. They don't need a leader to show them the way.
But apart from even a leader, are there structures in this revolution, Mukua?
This thing has been catalyzed by the happening in the country, the roads. So they are better going to streets, fighting for their own rights. Whichever comes, their goal is to do away with the bad leadership. Then from that, once they do away from the bad leadership, they now go to occupy parliaments. So, yeah, and they will run for this position. And next time, even one of us who is willing to vie for the president and is able and we see is okay, we'll support him.
Stanley, let me just chip in on that issue of tribeless, leaderless, and partless.
Briefly, before you move on to a different conversation on matters ESC taxes.
Okay, fine. Let me clear this of the partless and leaderless thing. This movement, we did not meet anywhere and decided that we are going to do this. Get that? So these guys should not be pestering us and pressuring us that give us your leaders. Which leaders are they talking about? It is because of the leadership of different movements that we've not had substantive changes in this country. We had the NADCO report. Personally, I sat on the NADCO. I submitted my NADCO views and on behalf of the young people. Where's the report? Gathering dust somewhere. And people had been paid and went around this town drinking tea and mandazis in different hotels. What we are saying, the presidency, is clear and simple. We don't have leaders. We are not partyless. I mean, we are leaderless, we are partless, and we are tribeless. If it was about the tribe, right now we could be having some people from Eldoret maybe saying our guy is being attacked, but nobody is saying so. So what we are saying is very clear. It is very clear. Number one, we want this issue of bad governance to be scrapped off. The arrogance and opulence that is being showcased by some small young leaders who came to power yesterday must end. That's what we are saying. What we are saying is the president must take action on the killer police. The president must take action on the inspector general. The president must take action on the corrupt leaders, right from the cabinet to the parliament. In fact, the leadership of parliament should be changed. People like Imani Ichung'wah with the level of arrogance, annoying the public every time they get a microphone. Osoro, they should be changed. Don't we have enough young people in that parliament that can lead the house? We do. During the time of people like Duala, we could see sober discussions. In fact, the parliament of today does not impress anybody. In the past, we could stop whatever we are doing to follow the parliament proceedings. But today, what's happening? It is a group of people who come and say, okay, what's the boss saying? Okay, that's the direction. We must sanitize the parliament, and the president has the mandate, in fact, to change the entire leadership right from the speaker and give us a parliament that can address
Babu,
the
let me ask you this. Right now in 2024, so about 3 years to the next elections, and Gen Z is saying tribeless, leaderless.
Yeah.
But come 2027, are we going to have a new crop of leaders emerging from these young leaders?
We've identified the leaders already. Those whom we are going to front for seats. We've seen potential. Okay. We've seen people who can replace certain unserious and masqueraders who are roaming around parliament as representatives. Stanley, let me tell you, this book is very clear and categorical. Article 1. Option 1, we can represent ourselves. Option 2, or, in fact it says or, delegate. So the members of parliament should not think that they are so special. They are not special. In fact, what happened last Tuesday was just a confirmation to tell them that they are never far from the people. It is that we've respected them and give them a mandate to represent us as they earn something to keep their family moving. That does not mean that we cannot represent ourselves. And if, let me just finish on this. Okay. And if you see a group of people moving from their households to go to parliament, then there's a problem in leadership. Because whatever we are taking, we are going to say in parliament, reject finance bill, ought to have been discussed at the grassroots. But the leaders in position failed to that. That's why we were compelled now to move to parliament and tell them, guys, this is what we are saying. So the members of parliament should not think, number 1, that they are very far from the people. Number 2, they are not that special. Number 3, they are they are replaceable. And 2027, some of them will go home and they will not do anything about it. So we've had many before.
Some of them is what I want to pick up from the Mukua. Hypothetically, if we had the young people now representing the young people, because 70% of the population is the young people, really. So hypothetically, if we have young people in parliament, is it going to cure some of these problems that we're having and facing and even raising?
The problem we're having in parliament is recycling the same people who have been there since 90s, early 90s. And you see a section of youth who are in parliament are very few and they cannot make any impact. So once we have now on toss, we'll increase the number in the parliament and even up to presidency. So we'll be in charge. Even if he managed to reclaim the seats, we'll make sure you have a majority of our representation in the Senate and in the Parliament, so that we can control things and make sure the things are running as expected. Yeah.
But hypothetically now that begins right now, where young people focus conversations to, as a fellow young people, do you have a voter's card? Are you eligible to even vie and also be a voter yourself? When you look at the 2022 elections, when you're covering them, one of the biggest conversations that you're having was voter apathy. Do you agree that, or rather, do you foresee a scenario where come 2027, this thing of voter apathy might even reduce? We're going to have more voters from these young people. Itafika your time and people will just forget and say, what's the need of voting?
What happened in 2022, most of the youth were already tired. They didn't see any need of voting because the same people they vote, they'll still do the same thing. So now we have realized this thing is affecting us and is also eating us, and it will affect us in the future generation. So now we are doing the same revolution. And we know that we are among ourselves, we know the right people who can lead us and the people who can represent us in parliament. So come 2027, and in 2022, majority of the youth were registered. A number of them. I even took part in mobilizing students, taking, I did voter education, I was an observer. So most of the youth didn't vote because they wanted to do away with the politics. But now they have realized politics is like part of their life. They must take part in it. So that's why they are taking over, and they want now to take part in the. And those alpha who are coming, and Gen Z, will mobilize them. They'll take the votes. And they also go and educate their parents, because now their parents, they have seen it, and they have seen this need for the change. Because so in 2027, actually, as early as the previous day, we'll be camping in polling station and no one will steal. We'll even match up to, even if it will be bombers. We'll gather our votes and we'll make sure they are delivered. And it is free and fair election.
Interesting, because right now someone who is informed to Babu is 16 years old. That means by 2027 they'll be eligible to vote. Yes. So I mean, and you're having this crop of young people who are also eager to vote, but then they're eager to vote in 2024. And because of time, I'd really like you to keep this short. Okay. A clarion call to all those young people out there. What will make the fire keep burning for all these years to come until 2027?
What I want to say is clear. Number one, in 2022 we had voter apathy on young people, and majority of young people are on the streets right now are either those who voted for the first time in 2022, or they are going to vote for the first time. They are now getting the political process. Yeah. Let me tell you, those young people who voted in 2022 are the biggest lot of people who have been disappointed, including myself. Me, I voted in 2022, and I also ran for a seat in 2022. And we are experiencing total disappointment with this regime. I want to tell you, and I want to confirm to you, that in 2027, we are going to have an uprise of young voters in this country. And that's why we are so confident that this regime is capable of going home, and we are taking it home. Not because we have any problem with any person personally. No, we do not have a problem with the president as a person. We have a problem with the leadership and the governance, the bad governance system that we are seeing. Opulence, corruption, unemployment rates, you get that? Mentioning not. Those are the things we have problems with. And if the president decides to address those issues as early as now, we can have a conversation. Until then, we are saying that let him do what he should do. Because in 2027, young people of this country are going to step up in numbers and will register. And that's the clarion call. As we agitate for these things, let's also get ourselves towards getting registered for the voting. So that this nonsense that we are seeing today, we shall put a stop on it at the ballot, constitutionally. Get that? As I finish on that, I want to address issue on nominations from the party angle. Okay. The political parties must get serious when it comes to nomination. We cannot have, UDA cannot tell us that amongst everybody who was in that party, it's only Karen Nyamu was who was the best person to be nominated to the Senate. That's a wasted vote. Look at what she's saying and how she's operating. I mean, we must be sober as a country, we must be sober as leaders, and we must be sober as political parties, and put the right people who can represent interest and talk things that can lead us to growth. Thank you. I mean, and then finally, as I finish, on the church. Very briefly. Just briefly, on the church. The president must understand that not everybody, the group that he sees on the street, 80% of them do not go to church. Not that they do not believe, they are believers, but they've detached from church. So you should not waste time on calling clergies and every time meeting bishops. Let him focus on the issues that we are saying. We have highlighted our issues very well. The president should take time, address those issues. The meetings with the churches, let that be a meeting of his own with the churches. Okay. We are not disputing churches, we respect churches, but we are saying that this conversation as it is right now, it is between the young people and the government.
Thank you very much. Mukwa, even as you come in on what he's saying, because right now there are different ideologies. There are people who will listen to Babu and say, no, my view is #Ruto must go. Someone would be on the view of, well, all right, we can have a leader, but then this is what. There seems to be not a unison ideology at the end of the day. Even after Reject Finance Bill, there seems to not be a unison idea. For your last words, how can, even for the young people, how can they speak in one voice so that even if the government is going to listen, this is what they're going to be hearing?
You know, Stan, the list is endless. Even if we start addressing the issues now, it will take us over a period of time because the system is already on its last stage of rotting. So we are only focusing on the major issues that are affecting us. And then the other one will fix as we enter in Parliament in 2027. So, but we must focus on the main key thing that is affecting the youth and that will empower the youth. Then from there, we'll do away with the bad leadership as time goes by. It is a process that will take time, but we still have energy and we are focused. We'll get there. Yeah.
Right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Ken Babu is the Youth League Chairman of Democratic Action Party, Kenya DAPK, as well as Fred Mukua, Youth Advocate. And even as you have your breakfast or whatever you're doing this morning and have your lovely Tuesday morning, go and take a look at the East African Community website and just taking a look at what the whole gazette of new taxes on diapers, phones and TVs as well. Read about that and just see, even as you're going to be going to these protests, probably you really need some of this knowledge. Thank you very much for watching Morning Cafe from all the way 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. We'll continue giving you live coverage of what will be happening today. The hashtag is Occupy Everywhere. They also say hashtag Occupy CBD. Right here on Morning Cafe. Don't go too far. Koheri for now.